So seated position, and maybe moving around a little bit. I, as you might know, really like a little bit of movement before we settle into a seat. Now, your seated position is preferably a very comfortable one. And it might be nice to just lean a little bit forward, maybe push the chest out and then round a bit backwards. You could leave your eyes open for now. I'm just getting into some forward, backward movement. So the chest opens, the spine starts to mobilize a little bit. And you might then just leave your hands on your legs and begin to turn a bit from side to side. So just moving. That might enable you to find an upright seated position from which you could close the eyes and maybe just turning the head just to one side, not tilting it, and then the other. And you might do that once more to each side, and just feeling into the sensations that come up as you do so. And of course, if you need to turn your head in a different way, that's fine too. As you center yourself, then the eyes might remain closed, and if that's not good for you, you can open the eyes but keep the gaze steady. I would ask you to simply sit for a moment and notice the seat underneath you, the contact to it, the sensations that arise right from your support into your body. To feel the alignment of your torso and your spine. To acknowledge if something there feels challenging. And it's perfectly fine to move slightly to adjust that. It's also fine to lean against the wall, by the way, if that's a support that might be useful. Then move on from the sensations that you feel in your body to the flow of breathing. Breathing in and out of your nose and noticing what happens with the flow of air. You could even visualize the whole process of the air moving through the nostrils, right down into the lungs and pushing the diaphragm down. And then as that all reverses, the diaphragm moving upwards as you're exhaling, the air leaving the lungs and then moving through the throat back out of the nostrils. Appreciating that this is actually happening. Beginning to deepen the breath. You can choose full yogi, ujjayi breath, or just a normal deeper breathing pattern. Full yogi breath is belly, ribs to collarbones, in and out of the nose. As you continue your breathing, I will share the card that came up. It's from the animal deck and it's the orangutan. On the card itself, it says laughter, curiosity, patience, and play. And this seems to be what this animal is about. It's quite a special one. It's one of the few that actually shows a smile and deliberately smiles at its mother. It's one that has opposing thumbs and very long arms, which makes it possible to move about amongst the trees at any time or even most of the day. It's an animal that stays for quite some time with its mother. And if it's female, it even stays longer to learn the mothering skills. It is cheeky, has a sense of humor. And that oftentimes happens at laughter when it's tickled, it's wrestling, or it's playing a chase. So what I will ask you this morning is to embrace that attitude of the orangutan. To be playful within your practice, to explore it, but also to take it light-hearted, to bring in some joy. And we will begin to bring in some joy very simply. As you take your next breath in, just put a smile onto your face. And then have a bit of a sigh out. And from here, begin to circle around whichever direction comes to you first, just moving in a circle. If you like, you can keep your eyes closed or open. Changing the direction of those circles. And then centering yourself again. Now, as you breathe in, lift both arms up right over the head. And as you're breathing out, just bending over to the right side, leaning into the hand, rolling your arm and shoulder into the center, and breathing in to curl back up and reach the arms back up, and then bending over to the other side. Rolling it in and down to the front and breathing in to lift it all again as we're repeating. So coming into a little bit of a playful flow around the side bend and the forward fold, and then that big reach up as you're breathing in. So just simply keeping it flowing, rolling in again, and then take a deep breath and reach up one more time. And as you're breathing out now, circle the arms around you. Place your fingertips down onto the floor. Lean into them. Begin to push your chest upwards, inviting space into the front of the body, allowing the head to come backwards. Do so carefully if your neck allows you. And then bring yourself back up gently into sitting. If you're sitting on something like myself, please remove that from underneath you. Placing your feet down in front of you. Take a hold of the backs of your thighs and take a breath in just as you're holding on to lengthen out through the back. And then leaning a little bit backwards to the space in between your sit bones. And if you're doing this correctly, your shoulders will be down, the spine will be long, and you will feel that the lower abdomen starts switching on. Now we're holding this, but we're releasing the hands if that feels good. Maybe even lifting the arms. And with the arms, maybe the gaze comes up. And as you're breathing out, just circle the arms around behind you and place the fingertips back down onto the floor. Allow it to just be your fingertips. Now, planting the feet down onto the ground and begin a windscream viper movement as you're moving from side to side. If you enjoy this, you could turn your gaze in the other direction, away from where the knees are moving, to get a deeper twist into the spine. Now then, centering yourself again. If you prefer this movement, perfectly fine to continue, but now there's the option of lifting the feet off the floor and then beginning the movement again. You would get a little bit deeper into the core muscles, but you will also get a deeper massage across your glutes. We will hold in the center when you're balanced, left, right side. And there's an option again of taking the hands out from behind you. If you need that extra support, please hold on to the backs of your thighs. Otherwise, take a deep breath and stretch your arms up again, landing the feet down and folding comfortably over your thighs, lowering the head towards your knees as you're resting there. Let's see if you want to take a hold of the feet, but if they're out of reach, anywhere around your calves or ankles is fine. If you like to hold your feet or the ankles, wherever you're at, pull a little bit on them. And with that, as you breathe in, lengthen your spine. So you're looking forward again. The spine becomes straight. And I would love you to keep the spine straight. And if it feels right, and only then, let the heels slide out a bit as you're next exhaling. So we're far away likely from straightening the legs unless you're very mobile. And please don't force it. The body is still very cold. Allowing yourself a couple of breaths to deepen this experience. But keep your spine long, the neck in alignment with the spine, the shoulders relaxed, and your gaze might be at your big toes. We will slowly release that by curling our spine up, and we might be able to straighten the legs out in front and just placing the hands down by the sides of the hips into Dandasana. So in this pose or staff pose, you will press a little bit into the hands on the floor. You might engage your legs to a point where the heels could lift off the ground. And you're simply sitting upright. We're not leaning into the hands, but the hands are trying to lift us that little bit taller. And then release that. Relax your feet, swing your legs around, and move on to all fours. From all fours, we will simply stretch back into an extended child's pose. Inhaling to come onto all fours. Let's tuck the toes under, lift the hips up, downward facing dog. Inhaling, bring the knees back down. We'll do a few rounds of that, and exhaling back into the extended child's pose. Inhaling is all fours. Exhaling, a down dog. And do that for a few more rounds, just moving in this way. You bring your knees down as you inhale, you're on all fours, and when you're breathing out, you're stretching either back to extended child's pose or into a down dog. I will ask you to go for 2 more rounds just to get a feeling for this movement and to warm up the body a bit. And when you're next arriving in a downward facing dog, invitation is to stay there. However, if the down dog is too strong, you can always go back to all fours. Now, when you're in the down dog, start to move a bit through your legs and your hips. Maybe bending one knee and encouraging the opposite heel to the floor and getting a bit of a swing. I would invite you really to tap into the playfulness of this animal. And using your intuition to feel into the body and to notice which part of it is it that you really need to move. And from there, then starting to walk the feet to the front end of your mat, where you arrive in a forward fold. As you breathe in, bring your hands against shins or thighs and lengthen the spine forward, just stretching out long. And when you're breathing out, soften the knees even more and fold again over your legs. We'll repeat that a couple more times. Press hands into shins or thighs and lengthen the spine forward. Big stretch into your back. And when exhaling, soften the knees more and fold again. Let go of the head. Last round here. Breathe in. Push hands into your legs and lengthen the spine forward. And breathing out to fold. Now, while you're staying here in your forward bend, keeping your knees soft, engaging the lower abdominals and using an exhalation then to curl up all the way into standing. So we're rounding our way up. Once you're up, let the shoulders come back and open the palms of the hands towards the front. Now, I would love you to stay comfortable. These words don't come out. Comfortably on the floor. If that means you've got your feet touching, fine. If it means to have your feet apart, as fine as the other option. Become a little bit stronger in your feet, and you might really want to feel your feet on the ground for that. Legs are strong for now as they hold us standing upright and tall. But we will re-engage in the playfulness of side bending. While you're breathing in, just float your arms up towards the ceiling. As you're breathing out, let your right arm fall, bending to the right. Bend your knees, roll your body forward and down. And then as you're breathing in, lifting back up and tall. So same as we did seated. On the out breaths, repeat that to the left. Bending the knees as you're curling forward. And then lifting back up with soft arms as you're breathing in. And exhaling for another round of side bending. Keep flowing like this. Now I've got my pace of breathing, you've got yours. So just simply sticking with your pace. Familiar now with the movement that goes kind of soft and playful. We'll do another round to each side. When you come up this time, breathing in, put a big smile on your face. Whether you mean it or you don't is not important. And then have a sigh and let the arms go. So I would love you, and I will remind you throughout this practice to smile that little bit more. It has been proven that it helps to just force the corners of the mouth up a little bit. We're not applying any other type of force to our bodies, however. So let's breathe in with a smile and lift the arms, lift your gaze. Then soften your knees, and as you're breathing out, folding forward. On your in-breath, your hands back against your legs to the half lift position as you lengthen your spine. And as you're breathing out, folding back down. Let's step our left foot back into a lunge. Keep a bend in the right leg. And as you're breathing in, wave yourself up, same as we did in the side bend position. But now we're rising up, the arms are lifted, the feet are grounded. You've got a bend there in your right knee. You're grounding down through the outer edge of the left foot for a warrior one. Let's bring a smile into our arms. Get the arms out like the biggest grin you can manage. Maybe pointing the palms of the hands to face upwards. And if it feels good, Let's squeeze the shoulder blades as you're next inhaling, lifting through the gaze. And as you're breathing out, round it a little bit forward and touch the backs of your hands. Let's breathe in for the big smile and an openness. And a breath out as you're rounding your back and the backs of the hands coming to touch. Do that one more time, breathing in and breathing out. This time curl back up through the spine. You might straighten your front leg as you're reaching the arms up. And then bring a bend back into the knees as you circle your hands down onto the mat, stepping your foot into a downward facing dog. On a breath in now, roll the spine forward, bring your knees down to the mat for this first round. And as you're exhaling, lower down onto the mat, untucking the toes. Taking your hands out a little bit wider now, wider than your mat, and you're placing your fingertips onto the floor. As you're breathing in, wave up through the spine and lift for wide-armed cobra. Keep your elbows, your shoulders as relaxed as possible. Now, as you're breathing out, drop your left shoulder into the center and look to your right elbow. Then center yourself again, inhaling. And now drop your right shoulder and look to your left elbow. Inhale, center yourself again. And then exhaling to release down onto the mat. Placing your hands now by the sides of your rib cage. Push into the mat, inhaling and exhaling as you sit back to your heels. Inhaling to rise onto all fours, either stay here or tuck toes under. And when breathing out, lifting the knees off the ground for a downward facing dog. Now, please do notice how you are feeling in this dog. Is it one that you want to hold steady, or do you feel you would rather want to move it? Making your choice rather than listening to me. However, if you're holding it still, bring a light bend into your knees and stretch your tailbone a bit further up and back. So knees soft and tailbone high. And then walking your feet again towards the front end of the mat, where once you've reached, your hands are coming against the legs again, half lift as you lengthen the spine forward. And breathing out to fold. Now I invite you to stay here for the inhalation and use your lower abs, breathing out to roll up really, really slowly. When you're inhaling, move your arms through the center, extend the body, reach it upwards. And as you're breathing out, knees are soft, we're folding down again. Return to your half lift. You can now choose where to place your hands. Just lengthen the spine forward. Use support of hands and fingers. And then folding again. We'll now step the right foot back into a comfortable stance. Left knee stays in a bend. Roll up through the spine as you're breathing in, lifting the arms up. A little smile towards the sunshine that might be there. And then we will deepen the smile once we've grounded through our feet. So keeping the back leg straight and the outer edge of the back foot quite firmly in the floor. The front knee is in a bend, and then you're bending your elbows and putting that big grin back into your whole body. Corners of the mouth might lift with that as well. Now, if that feels right, breathe in to squeeze your shoulder blades and lift your gaze. As you're breathing out, round the body forward and the backs of your hands come to touch. Breathing in, open the front body. Breathing out to round it forward. Once again, breathing in and a breath out. As you're inhaling now, move your arms back through the center, right up towards the ceiling. And when you're exhaling, circle the arms out, bring the hands to the floor and step your foot back again into downward dog. On your in-breath, moving forward to your plank or kneeling plank. And on the out-breath, we will lower all the way down onto the ground, untucking the toes. We will repeat our striking cobra. So take your hands back out beyond the mat, only the fingertips on the floor. And on the in-breath, wave up through the body and then settle in it. Let the shoulders relax, your elbows be soft. On your next out-breath, then bring your right shoulder into the center, looking over your left elbow. Breathing in to the center, and then left shoulder down, looking over the right elbow. Inhale, come to center, and then exhaling as you're melting back onto your mat. Hands landing by the sides of your ribs. Breathe into all fours, and then stretch right back to the heels into your extended child's pose. Feel free to stay here for a little bit if you prefer this pose, or find your way to all fours or down dog if you prefer that one. And then stay and breathe. It is always your choice in which pose you're spending a little bit more time. So adjust what I ask you to do to your personal needs on this very day. Now, if you're still in your child's pose, find your way up. Once again, walking the feet forward to the front end of the mat. Hands coming up for a half lift, inhaling. Then bend your knees and breathe out to roll right up into standing. As you inhale, lift your arms, your gaze. And as you're breathing out, find a chair pose. Sitting into chair pose, the shoulders shall be rather relaxed. Bring a bend into the hips as well, so you're lightly leaning forward. Engage the lower abs and leave your sit bones open. Take a breath in here. Have a sigh out as you're folding forward. Inhaling, find a half lift. And as you're exhaling, stepping your left foot back again. We'll repeat this warrior one. So keep the front knee in a bend, roll yourself up. Lift the arms as you're breathing in and settle into your warrior one as you're breathing out. Let's put that big grin into the arms as you're bending your elbows outwards. We will squeeze the shoulder blades just once as you're opening the front of the body, breathing in. And only once we will round the body forward. I ask you now to lift your heel as you're inhaling, that's the back foot, and reach your arms up. Some might want to widen the stance, this is up to you. Now as you're breathing out, lean forward and let your right arm swing by the side of the body, leaving the left arm facing forward. Starting to pull a bit back on the right hip, while the left heel is still encouraged to move backwards, so pelvis is in balance. From here, as you inhale, take a windmill, lower the left heel, and as you're breathing out, settle into a warrior two. So we've got a bit of a wider stance here, and the left leg is firm and straight, grounding a bit to the outer edge of the left foot, while we're keeping the right knee in line with our toes. If you prefer to turn the palms of your hands upwards, please do so, and you could look into the palm of the hand. We will draw the whole body inwards and releasing our hands, maybe also the knee to the ground. It is your choice to come straight into a down dog or to tuck the toes under on the ground and stretch your hips up and back for a puppy pose. So I'm currently showing you the more gentle variation with the knees off the floor. This might be yours. As you breathe in, move forward into your plank or kneeling plank. And then exhale to lower again onto the mat. We will this time come into a normal cobra. On the in-breath, wave the spine up into cobra. Now you don't have to be very high, you could be quite low, and you could choose to keep hands grounded or lift them off the floor. Now while we're holding this back bend, encourage the tops of the feet into the ground. So your legs will be engaged, supporting you. The buttocks muscles will be lightly switched on to hold and support your lower back. Then release back down. You can dial it up a little bit and come straight into down dog, but you're welcome also to stretch back into the puppy. So puppy pose or down dog, and allowing a few breaths. You can choose to stretch back and up with your hips, with the knees on or off the mat. Allow 2 more breaths, not more, not less, just 2 full breaths. And from there, you will either be now on all fours or in your down dog, lifting your left leg up, breathing in. On a breath out, bring your knee to your nose. On a breath in, extend the leg back. On a breath out, bring your knee to your shoulder or elbow. Inhale, extend the leg back again. And now try the opposite, elbow or shoulder. And then breathe in again and lift the leg up. As your next exhale, bring your foot forward. We've just got a normal lunge here as you might rise onto your fingertips, encouraging hips and balance and heel back. And on the next out breath, standing forward bend. Inhale, rising into a half lift. Bend your knees and breathe out to roll up into standing. Breathing in, lift your arms and your gaze. And breathing out for another chair pose. So in my chair, the palms are always turned up. Just gives me that freedom for the shoulders. Feel free to take it right around your ears if you feel that's right for you. Keep your core muscles on. The body's lightly leaning forward. Take another breath as you stay here. And when you're exhaling, then fold. Breathing in for a half lift. And as you're breathing out, let's step the right foot back onto the ground. Left knee is in a bend, warrior one. Roll up through your body. Breathe in to lift the arms. And then settle into your stance. Back leg is again straight. We're grounding through the outer edge of this foot. Front knee is in a bend. Let's bend our elbows, maybe lifting through the corners of the mouth, extending out this smile all the way into the arms. And on the next breath in, let's squeeze the shoulder blades, open the front of the heart. And as you're breathing out, round the upper body, backs of the hands touching and gazes low. Now, from here, as you're lifting again, taking the back heel off the ground, maybe stepping it back. And then we come forward, and now the left arm swings by the side while the right arm is reaching towards the front. So the wider stance here might be good for you, it might not. And you would bring the left hip a little bit back while you're still encouraging out into the right heel. Let's change to Warrior Two. As you lower the right heel, take a big windmill and let your arms come out to shoulder height and then settle into this stance. Currently, I prefer my palms facing upwards. I would ask you to really feel what's right for your shoulders and arms there. Staying quite grounded. The stance is preferably a bit wider than for Warrior One, as otherwise the knee might come that little bit too far forward. We want to keep our knee roughly above the ankle joint. Now let's pull all of that in together, placing your hands down, lifting the back heel. You could come back into puppy, which means the knees are on the ground, or you're stepping back into a downward facing dog. Return to your breathing. And if you feel the breath has gotten stuck with all of this thinking about where to place which part of your body, have a sigh out in between. Breathe in deeply and just let the breath go. There's nothing worse than getting stuck in your breathing. Now, once you're back in a balanced breath, we will lift the right leg up as we inhale. And on the out breath, just bring the knee into the chest. Inhaling to extend the leg. And breath out, bring your knee towards the elbow or the right shoulder. Then inhale again to extending back. And exhaling to come over towards the left shoulder. Inhaling to extend again. And on the out breath, stepping your foot forward. And you can help it there. You can have your knees down. There's no limits to adjustments. Come to your fingertips when you're ready. Lengthen your spine into this runner's lunge. And on the out breath, step it forward, forward fold. Inhaling, lengthen your spine forward for a half lift. Bend your knees. And breathe out to roll up into standing. Breathing in to lift your arms, and we'll return to the very beginning as you're breathing out, bending to your right, softening the knees and curling forward. Inhaling to rise up into a tall, high stance, and breath out to bend to the left, bending your knees and curling forward. And as you're inhaling now, just rising to standing and rolling your shoulders back, settling into a mountain pose. Palms of the hands can either face your body or forward. Just again, feel into the shoulders, what's right for you. Align your feet, preferably the toes are pointing forward so the hips are aligned. And then pressing down again actively into the feet, engaging into the legs, the glutes. And your gaze could be steady or your eyes could be closed. And I invite you to pause. To pause and breathe. Feeling your body as a whole standing here. Feeling the groundedness through the feet, the support that feet and legs are providing for you. The lightness of the breath moving through the torso. And feeling connected through the crown of the head to the sky. We are whole beings, not just our physical bodies. And we are complete as we are right at this moment with everything that is going on. Let's relax the body for a moment and open the eyes. I will guide you through a balancing sequence. If you need to step down onto both of your feet in between, that is fine. If you fall out of balance, that's fine too. Just joining back in, and whatever feels right is right for you. So let's begin tapping the right foot out to the side and taking a deep breath to stretch the arms already into a star. Open up through your fingers. I got once the feedback that this is a really happy pose. So if you're feeling like it, lift the toes off the floor and put your smile back onto your lips. Beautiful star pose. Hold your arms like this, but breathe in and lift your right knee. And then bend the left as you're crossing your legs over for an eagle. Now you might want some support with the big toe on the ground, or you could even tuck the foot in by the side. Let your right arm lower underneath your left, either to embrace your shoulders or to bring the hands to touch. Let your shoulders now relax in this eagle pose and lift your elbows a little, steadying your gaze. Now, as you're breathing in, lifting the arms and opening them out while you're sliding your ankle on top of the thigh. And please start to flex the right foot now. Inhaling, bend the elbows as we're smiling again. And if that feels right, on the out breath, place your hands down onto your lower leg. And with that, maybe sitting that little bit deeper. This could be a preparation here for a half pigeon. Let's breathe in, lift the knee one last time, your arms, land your foot, and then release the arms as well, and get some movement back into your body. You could shake things out, you could walk a little bit forward and back, or even have a skip to the side if you're particularly happy today. Now let's see if we can remember it all for the other side. So start in a tall standing position and feel the support again of your legs and your feet. Then tap your left foot out to the side. Begin to just lift your arms out into a star shape, spreading out through the fingers. The key to all of these balances is to keep the gaze steady, but you could lift the foot off the floor. You could also bring a smile back onto your lips while you're reaching into all of these areas. Now, bring a bend into the knee and lift it up. Arms are staying out while you're crossing. The elbows are bending as you're taking your left arm now underneath your right, either to embrace the shoulders or for the hands to come to touch once your arms are bound. Let your shoulders be relaxed. Lift the elbows a bit forward, keeping a steady gaze. The eagle. While you're releasing the arms, take a breath in and open them out to the side and sliding your ankle on top of the thigh. Flex actively through your left foot. That's to protect your knee. Bring a bend into the elbows, open through your heart, a smile on your lips. And either stay there or place your hands down onto your lower leg. Bringing a bit of a deeper bend into your standing leg. And then let's lift again. Breathing in last time, reach it up, lift your knee, plant the foot. Release your hands all the way through the midline and down by your sides, and acknowledge that you might really need some movement, some shaking out to do. So I won't take you into a full half pigeon today. We will rather do that lying down. So to get to the floor, let's breathe in, lift the arms once again. Touching the hands, soften your knees and exhaling to fold. While breathing in, lengthen the spine forward. And while you're breathing out, you can cross one leg behind or however you come most elegantly down to sit. I will invite you once again to bend your knees, to step your feet onto the ground, to take a hold here behind the thighs, lengthening through the spine, lifting up your toes, and then folding forward over your thighs. You can take a hold of your lower legs anywhere or your feet, repeating the forward bend from the beginning. So while you hold on, you're breathing in and pull a little bit on your hold and really lengthen the spine, bringing your gaze forward. And then as you're exhaling, keep your belly glued to the thighs and let your heels slide forward. A little or a lot. I will ask you to keep the length of the spine as you use now each outburst to try and deepen this forward fold. It doesn't have to take you anywhere. Your gaze could be gently lowered if your neck needs some release. And then stay with that for a few more breaths. Just bending. As you next inhale, lengthen your spine and lift it again. Release your grip, and unless you need to grab socks and things, just rolling down straight away from here onto your back. As I promised, we will work and bring some more openness into the hips and maybe into the legs. So we'll begin our lying postures with the feet on the ground. Lifting your left leg up and then placing your ankle on top of the thigh and just letting your knee fall out to the sides. If this is where you're at today, we don't know. Sometimes the body just needs a bit of kindness. Stay here. And you could rest your hands against both thighs and encourage that deepening of the pose. If you want to go deeper, recommend to flex the left foot, to reach your left arm through between the legs, to lift the right foot off the ground and to take an interlace behind the thigh or across your shin. Notice that the head might have fallen backwards and bring that back into its alignment. Keep drawing these two legs in towards you quite actively and, if you like, even strongly. There is a deeper variation for this, and that could mean that you're straightening your right leg up and you're reaching instead of for the thigh, for the calf. Again, if you progressed, you might choose to tap your chin lightly in again. If your right leg was extended, please bend the knee again and place your foot down onto the ground. Let your arms lengthen down by the side of the body. Now, if the bridge is too strong on just one foot, please step the left foot down. Otherwise, tilt your pelvis while breathing in to flatten out your spine. And then squeeze your buttocks as you're breathing out and push your hips up. Hold here. Again, entirely up to you if you want to lift your left leg or you keep it there. Stepping the foot back down onto the mat, engaging both glutes a little bit more balanced, and then rolling down on your next out breath. Releasing your hips to the floor. Let the arms release, the knees knock in towards each other. We will change sides, the right leg lifting, and your ankle comes to the thigh as you allow your right knee to fall out to the sides. And the same here. Welcome to stay, maybe putting both hands against the thighs to encourage to deepen this position. If you want more, let your right arm reach through between the legs, lift your left foot and take an interlace of your hands, maybe in that odd way, behind the thigh. And you could keep that hug in here quite active and using again as in all stretches the out breath to deepen. If you want to take this a bit further, extend your left leg and change your grip to behind the calf. Please notice the positioning of the head. And as we release the leg, bending the knee and placing the left foot back down onto the ground, taking your arms down alongside the body. Again, you're welcome to stand on both of your feet for a bridge. On the in-breath, tilt the pelvis to flatten your back, then engage your buttocks as you're breathing out to lift upwards. Hold here, breathing, finding the squeeze still quite dominant in the left side, grounded through the shoulders. And if you like, you can extend your right leg up. Placing your right foot onto the ground, squeezing again both sides of the buttocks to lift the hips and to control the movement down as you're rolling onto your back. Let your arms fall away from the body and let your knees do the same as you briefly touch the soles of your feet together and allowing some more openness into the hips. If you're feeling ready for Shavasana, you could slide one leg out after the other and come straight into it. But there's room and time to have that last little wiggle or movement, or to bring in all of your support, such as cushionings, blankets, if you're feeling cold. And find your way into the stillness of Shavasana, lying on your back, arms away from the body. Either the knees are bent and the knees are falling in towards each other, so they're kind of holding themselves, or your legs are out long over support maybe. If eyes closing doesn't feel right, steady the gaze against the ceiling. Find this one spot, even when the eyes are closed. Steady drishti. Now, while you're lying here, as always, there is the flow, that very gentle, subtle flow of air moving through the nostrils, which might be your focal point. Otherwise, we might look a little bit deeper into this curious orangutan. The orangutan swings into your life with a clear and simple message to bring more play into your day. Amidst the serious stakes, high pressures, and apparent challenges that may at times circle your life, orangutan brings the glorious ability to rise above tension and stress and gain a different view. A wider view from above, upside down, or from a different angle. Orangutan helps us to step back, take a breath, and not take life or ourselves too serious. You might repeat the following affirmation for yourself and then let it sit for a moment. My soul is bathed in laughter. My heart warmly smiles. My mind and body are at play. Life is a joyous adventure, a gift that I embrace. Gently allowing your breaths to deepen again. Maybe bring movement back or stretches. And take yourself back into a seated pose. You can have your eyes open or closed. And I invite you back into that extended smile, including your arms. As you take a breath in, get your arms out into the smile, lift the corners of your mouth. And then take a good hug for yourself. And maybe lower your gaze into your own heart. We'll repeat the smile and the hug. Take a breath in. Put that smile back onto your face. And then change the arm on top for another hug. I invite you into one more smile as you open yourself up to all that there is And then just bringing the hands to touch in front of your heart space. While we keep that smile on our lips, we're extending to each other. Namaste.